What are your thoughts on the toll road going forward if you were to become a city council member?
Sure. So it's tough for me to hear anything new at this point. As you know, I've been litigating this issue for the last year and a half. I've been up in Sacramento. I've been doing a lot for this, drafting legislation. There wasn't anything new. The PSR was released about 2 or 3 months ago. The first round of comments came through, and now they sort of opened that document up to the public. I submitted a pretty detailed comment letter as part of that process. It's about 4 or 5 pages, and I'll post it after this is done onto the Facebook page if people want to take a look at it. But the takeaways, and I have sort of my big map that I had at the Toll Road Forum. This shows all of the most recent, latest proposals from the TCA. This is directly from the PSR document itself, and just to give everybody some bearings, this is Route 14 that comes through the middle of San Clemente, connects to the 5, and would go down to Basselin Road in the middle of the 5. That's the orange route. Route 21 was the latest idea that the TCA proposed, and that would bring Las Patronas Road down and connect it to La Pata, and then simultaneously it would widen the 5 and have managed lanes all the way down from the 73 to Basselin Road, which would obviously have a pretty huge impact in and of itself for a lot of the folks in the south side of town. Route 17's been on the table for a while. Route 13, I see these as sort of less likely than anything else because the traffic just doesn't make any sense, and the impacts to homes, etc., are huge. And the other 2 interesting proposals are to widen the 5 all the way down from Bake Parkway or from the 73 and make it managed HOT lanes all the way down the middle of the 5 to Basselin Road. So there's several proposals that include that. And the gist of the comments that I made, and frankly the gist of our lawsuits that I've filed and the city have filed, are that the TCA doesn't have the legislative authority to do any of these routes. They're a joint powers authority, they're a government agency. When they were enacted back in the 80s, they had very circumscribed authority to do one thing, and that was to build very specific route corridors, one of them around San Clemente and connected to Basselin Road, the 5 down by Basselin Road. That route's been abandoned by the TCA and by Caltrans through various agreements, and it was struck down well before those agreements anyway by the Secretary of Commerce and by the Coastal Commission. Now all of the routes don't follow the legislative route that was designated by the legislature. They have to do that, and so the first question is, can they even do any routes through San Clemente? And I think the short answer to that is no, and that's what we're addressing through the lawsuits right now. The second portion is AB 1413, which was adopted and allowed the TCA to be formed, was very specific that any of the routes the TCA ultimately approved and constructed and funded had to be parallel to the 5. So managed lanes are obviously not parallel to the 5, they're right in the middle of the 5. So the other argument we have, which is not being addressed yet, it needs to be addressed through lawsuits, is does the TCA have any legislative authority to build managed HOT lanes? And the short answer to that is no, they do not. Orange County Transportation Authority has the legislative authority to do those types of projects. They've already said that's a complete waste of time because the traffic numbers don't support that. The traffic numbers don't even support an HOV lane from Pico down to Basselin Road. It doesn't support that for several years. So the short answer for me is none of these ideas make any sense from a traffic standpoint, and they don't make any sense from a dollars and cents standpoint because the traffic relief is so nominal that $2 billion, why do it? And ignoring even the takings of all the properties, all that good stuff. So it makes absolutely no sense. So the action items for me as a council member to continue on with those lawsuits, to continue legislative approaches up in Sacramento, which I know is, SB 382, which I went up there to testify on behalf, wasn't approved, but we did get a lot of traction with Senators Bell and other folks on the Transportation and Housing Committee. And they were interested in the fact that the TCA hasn't built anything for 20 years yet. Several of their folks are making $350,000, $400,000 plus per year to do nothing and except pay lobbyists and all that good stuff. So, and in that vein, there's been a very silly rumor that I want to address right now while I'm doing this, that somehow I'm involved with the TCA or that I'm backed by folks that support the TCA or want the toll road. That's absolutely ridiculous because, look, I'm an attorney. I represent the reserve in litigation. If that were true, I would be disbarred tomorrow. if that were the case. I can't. That's a conflict of interest. And even beyond that, I've been one of the most staunch critics of all of these proposals for 2 years. I've drafted legislation. I helped draft the legal strategy and implement the legal strategy that we're fighting with. And the city saw me fit to go up to Sacramento and help fight that battle with Pat Bates and Lori Donchak. So to those that have any concerns about where my allegiance is, it's to stop the toll road from coming anywhere near San Clemente. And frankly, to stop the toll road from going any further than where it is right now. So I want to make that very clear. I'm not backed by development interest. I'm not supported by those interests. I have no desire to bulldoze the city of San Clemente. In fact, since 2009, when I was a planning commissioner, I fought very hard to make sure that our small town feel and charm is maintained, and that we focus on projects that are good for the city and good for residents. So anyway, I wanted to address it's the most ridiculous rumor I've ever heard, but it's been out there. People have asked me.
Isn't that how that works these days?
The rumor mill is strong.
Throw it at the wall and see if
see what
somebody will
sticks.
actually buy into it.
It's funny. Every day I get a new rumor, and I just have to laugh. So
Yeah,
that's been the silliest one.
So you are actively involved in litigation.
Very
so
active.
Where are we at? Are you halfway through? You just from the layman's terms, where are we at?
So I want to stress to people that this has been an uphill battle, and litigation takes a long time anyway. But just so people know who we are fighting against. We are fighting in these lawsuits against the state of California. The Attorney General is involved. Caltrans is involved. 15 different environmental groups are involved. The county was involved. Who else? A whole myriad of interests. And at every stage, obviously the TCA is involved. We've been met with procedural motions. They tried to get the case sent down to San Diego 4 different times. There were 4 different motions. When that failed, they tried sort of motions to dismiss, demurs, all that good stuff. We had to transfer out of Orange County to Riverside, which took time. So all of these interests are fighting against us right now, because folks who think that Caltrans is our friend in this whole fight, that's definitely not true. Caltrans would love to take money from the TCA, build the extra lanes in the middle of the 5, and make more road, because that's what Caltrans does. So litigation takes time, and I understand that people are frustrated by that, but we're making progress. Right now there's a hearing that's now set for January on motions to dismiss that were filed by the TCA, by the Attorney General, by Caltrans, and by some of the environmental groups to try to dismiss a couple of our causes of action. I think those are likely going to fail, and as soon as they do, the next stage is going to be filing motions, hopefully in early spring, to get this whole idea of whether the TCA has the legislative authority to do any of these proposals to get that heard in front of the judge. So hopefully that'll be early next year, but I understand that, unfortunately, we haven't done a good job of updating the city or the residents. I represent a private community and entity, so it's harder for me to give behind the scenes information. So I hope the city will start giving better updates as to where we are with the litigation. But we are making progress. It's been a slog every step of the way, and frankly, they've made this as difficult as they possibly can, which we expected. But we're getting there, and we're getting there as fast as we can.
Can you give us a quick synopsis? What's the difference between Caltrans and OCTA?
So Caltrans is a state agency, and they're broken down into various districts. The Caltrans district for Orange County is District 12, so they govern all of the state highway system and freeway system for Orange County. The Orange County Transportation Authority is the local MPO, Metropolitan Planning Organization, and regional transportation planning organization for the Orange County area. It's a local agency. The board consists of various cities, the county, in Orange County. And we have held a seat because of Lori Donchak for the last several years. Unfortunately, now that she's stepping down as a councilwoman, we're going to lose that seat. I hope that somebody friendly to San Clemente takes over her seat, and it's not somebody friendly to the TCA, because we need the OCTA to help us. And I think the approach that the OCTA takes as compared to the TCA is they listen a lot more to local concerns, a local approach, and if an area doesn't want, for example, a toll road, or they don't want managed lanes, they're going to be more receptive to ideas to try to look at what can we do with arterial systems, what can we do with mass transit, what can we do with these other things to respect what the local folks want from a different area. And so I see the OCTA as an ally. In fact, initially when I went to testify in front of the OCTA, they were supportive of SB 382. We got a positive vote out of one of their committees to support SB 382, which was a huge deal. Now when it went to the bigger vote, it was a tie vote, and unfortunately we only got a neutral letter from OCTA, but I consider them a friend, and I think that they are an important ally in the fight against having a toll road come through San Clemente, because I think they are far more receptive and realistic when it comes to traffic projections and working with San Clemente. So they're a great agency, and they've done great work. They subsidize the trolley. They've done a lot of work down in the Pure Bowl area in terms of making it safer with the train quiet area. They're hopefully going to be funding a project soon for the underpass and making that safer, the train crossing safer. So they've been a great ally for the city of San Clemente, and I think folks should be very happy with OCTA.
Absolutely, we should pump them up.
Yeah.
Let them know we appreciate their efforts.
Absolutely.
'Cause I had no idea they were a part of the trolley system or
Mhm.
the trail system. That was definitely.
And our trolley is the most successful of all of the trolleys in Orange County. We have the best ridership. So, as a council candidate, I hope to extend that. We're going to extend it to Dana Point, and I'd even like to try to extend it further inland to like Vista Hermosa Sports Park, so that people that live back in Talega, Forester Ranch, all that can park there, bring the trolley down to the beach areas, and hopefully help with some of the traffic. I think that would be a phenomenal asset for those folks back there.
Sure, absolutely.
Yep.
Well, I knew you knew a lot about the the toll road issue. What do you know?
I could talk for hours on that.
Yes, you're in the middle of the fight, and we appreciate that. But what do you know about the homeless situation?